Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to day 1, week 1, month 1, year 1. This is the start. Here we are. So we're in our house. We've acquired this as part of our inheritance. We sold everything we had in the city and we've got £100,000 in the bank. It's August. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. It's a sunny day. Let's have a look, shall we? We're going to head outside and see what we're dealing with. So if you've watched the introduction video, you'll know exactly what this is. This is a playthrough with no mods on no man's land playing Farming Simulator 2022, and we are going to get started. So what do? If you're new to this game and you've never played it before, you've just arrived. Well, I think in a map like this we need to consider what we've got, what we need to do, and that would first of all require us to look, and we're going to pause the game while we check this out, in the menu. Now as we look across into the menu, and we can see here the calendar, we look at what we can actually plant at the moment in terms of crops. Well, we can plant canola. Okay, what else can we do? Well, we could plant some trees and some grass and some oilseed. All we need to know is, knowing we can plant this, we can also next month plant wheat and barley. Let's have a look at the marketplace. Well, wheat sells for £500. Barley sells for 465. So wheat is more valuable than barley. Okay, what about canola? Wow, £1,000. So already we can see that canola is worth twice as much as wheat. Well, then we're more likely to plant canola, right? Grass, as we can see, is worth £74. And so when we look at what's available to us, canola definitely seems like the best choice right now. So we're going to go ahead and get this planted today. What do we need to do for that? Well, we need to prepare our field. And what else do we need to do? Well, we need to think about how we can earn money. In this game, it doesn't matter what you do. If you have no money, you can't buy anything. If you can't buy anything, you can't expand. And so you need to consider. Now, this simulation is very possible for you to download mods, do any of the things you want to do. You can have unlimited money, you can have unlimited strength, you can have unlimited whatever you want. But we're going to play it with a realistic vibe. That means we're not going to enable what we class as cheats. We're just going to play the game kind of as it is, as it was intended to be played. Therefore, everything we need to do, we're going to do within the realms of what is available to us. So, in order to do that, what we need to figure out is, well, how do we earn money in this game? Well, there are 3 things that we can do. We can farm through agriculture, we can farm through animal husbandry and livestock, or we can farm through trees and forestry. So, considering trees and forestry is probably our easiest way to generate money and the cheapest, let's go ahead and jump into our menu. If we come to the items from tools that we can buy, we're going to get ourselves a chainsaw. Before we do anything else, we're going to get ourselves a chainsaw. The reason we're going to do this is we've got £100,000. We want to be effective with our money. And so it doesn't matter which one you buy. They all cost the same. They all do the same. They're just different brands. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to buy a chainsaw. That's £1,000 we've spent. Now that chainsaw can be activated by scrolling your middle mouse wheel, or by pressing number 1 or number 2 on your keyboard. And now we have a chainsaw, we can chop down trees. Now, at the moment, this isn't really a priority because the trees are always going to be there. This is something we could do in the winter. But now we've got the chainsaw, we've got that ability. What we need to do, given the fact that we're on limited time, is consider how else can we earn money. Well, we can prep the field for harvest. That's one thing we can do, but this is going to take a year until it reaps rewards. So we can do this now and get it ready, but we're not going to get paid from this today. And the other thing we can do, if we look around, is that there is an abundance of grass. Look at all this grass. And so 2 very quick and easy ways for us to make money. 1 is to prepare for the future. 2 is to cut down trees. And 3 is to cut the grass. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to prep this land before we do anything else. Now, looking in our tool shed, we have a tractor, we have a cultivator, we have a plow, we have a trailer, a harvester, and a seeder. So let's go ahead and jump in our tractor. We press E to do that. We're now going to back up. W-A-S and D to drive. We're going to back up to this plow. Now the reason we're going to do this first is because I want to show you something. Press Q to attach the plow, and we're going to move forward. Now the reason I'm doing this is because that field is quite a small field. and I actually want to extend it. And so I'm going to show you how you can create a new field. Now you can use this to extend a field, or you can use this to basically create a brand new field. All you need is a plough. With the plough, you'll line yourselves up to where you want to be. So we're going to go right here. So we're kind of lined up to where the current field is. And then if you press F1, you can see on your menu there's certain things you can do. One of them is you can lower your plough by pressing V. Now we've lowered our plough. If I move forward, you'll see I'm going to start to plough this land. In fact, I've just done that. If I look out the back, you can see now this is this land that we had that is withered. It says here, owned by me, crop type, potatoes, growth, withered. And if I look here, this is a new piece of land. This has now been ploughed. And as you can see, if I look at the field info, it just says owned by me and fertilized 0%. Needs lime. When you plough a field, you reset the field. You reset it back to standard. What you can also do when you plough a field, if you look in the menu, it says allow create fields by pressing Y. If I press Y right now, in fact before I do that, if I plough this field and I go outside of this field, nothing happens. I just go over the grass. And that is because allow create fields is disabled. It means that I can plough on a current field but not on a new one. And a field is a ploughed area. So any area that is ploughed is classed as a field. Little tip here for you, the AI can work within a field. So if you create a field, you can hire people to work in that field for you. Now how do you create a new field? Let's say we want to create a new field. Well, what we would need to do is attach our plough and then press Y where it says allow create fields. When we do that, it now says we can limit to fields. What that means is that because now I'm allowing the creation of new fields, if I move forward, now what happened before is it did nothing, but now, as you can see, it's going to plough additional space within our field. This means we can extend our field. I'm actually going to pick this up now, because I've just done a straight line from where I was, and I want to come the other way. Now, in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, you're going to see a compass. If we're going to go due west right now, we want to be at 270 degrees. So I would recommend lining yourself up with your wheels so you're approximately at 200 degrees, and then moving forward just far enough where you can actually put down your plough. And by doing that, it's going to start to create a new part of the field. We're going to go forward quite slowly, and as you can see in the bottom left, we're going at 270 degrees, meaning we're going perfectly west. We're going to go up until the edge of the field, and we're going to stop just about here, and we're going to pick up our plough, and then we're going to rotate around. And what we're going to do here is we're going to finish off this field. Now, you don't have to get this perfect. Right now we need to be at 180 degrees because that would be us going south. You don't have to be perfect. You want to try and be as close as you can, but this game is quite forgiving and it does give you options. So if you were to plough this field, and as you can see here, I missed a little bit. I wasn't actually perfect. In fact, you can see if I jump out here, there's this little line here that I didn't do. Well, this is where you can go a little bit out from where you start. So when you start, you're very physical and very hands-on. But as you progress in the game, one of the things you can do is if you press P, you can come down to the very bottom of this menu, to this extra menu, and we can go into construction. Construction is going to give us the option to add buildings, so I can add a shed. It's going to give us the option to add other things, including production, like we can add different buildings like a bakery. We can add animals, for example, if we wanted to add a cow barn, or we could add maybe some sheep. We can add decorations if we wanted to put it, say, a fence or some lights or maybe a shed. We can do that. But the thing I want to draw your attention to right now is the landscaping tool. Now, if we plough the field ourselves, that field will be ploughed, and that's great. It won't cost us anything if we have the tools to do that and we do it ourselves. But if we don't have the ability to do that, we can use the landscaping tool. We can raise and lower the ground, we can level the ground, we can soften the ground, or we can create a slope. We can also add trees and plants. But what I'm interested here is painting. In painting, there are several different options where you can do things within the game. And one of those, which is here, is a mod, which means adding ploughed state. That means if I do this, I'm going to pay £1 every time I use this. But what I can do by pressing this button, and it has to the land has to be owned by me, otherwise I can't do it. But I can actually press this, and if I'm on this and I use it, I'll actually be able... it's not working at the moment, which is interesting. Here we go. I can actually plough this land. There we go. And so this gives me the ability to create additional land. So let's say I want to go a bit further. Now this land is the next farm over, which is why I can't do this, because I don't own this land. I'd have to buy this land to be able to edit it. But if you wanted to perfect things, let's say you went a little bit too far, you want to change things, you can add ploughed state, you can add grass if I wanted to actually make this grass. There's different things I can do here. If I wanted to add concrete or pebbles or anything else, I can customize this field by doing all of these things. And so it's very interesting for you to be able to see this, because this is something that later on you might want to do. And in order for you to be able to do it, you need to know where to come, and this is it in landscaping. But for now, for the purpose of this game, I've showed you that. We're going to go and jump inside our tractor, and we're going to finish things off. So we need to plough this field. In order for us to do that, we're going to lower the plough, pressing V, and we're going to drive forward. And that's it. It's as simple as that. We're just going to drive forward. We're going to make sure we're on the edge as far as we can be, which for this case is about here. And there we go. Look, we're going to continue to plough this field. Now, even though I couldn't do this before because it said it wasn't my field, I didn't own it. Oops, I've gone a bit too far there. I can do it now in the tractor. It's let me do a little bit more. Again, I can press P, come back to construction, and you can see I actually ploughed a little bit too much. So I can go to landscaping if I make a mistake, go to painting, pick up the grass, and I can just fill this in with grass. Now, ironically, it's not letting me do it because it's saying I don't own the land. So it's not letting me do it, but you should be able to do this. I think we need to own the land, and it's saying we don't own it. So we might have to just leave this bit. It's not going to work. But you get the idea on how this works. So we could just fill this in, but we can't go any further. It's not letting us. And that's only because we haven't bought that land yet. So if we bought that land, we'd be able to do that. Have no fear. I can actually make this work. So all I can do here instead is I can just make this a little bit further. So I can bring this out here instead. And you'll see it's actually ploughing the land that's underneath where this grass is. Now it should actually remove that grass. It's not doing it at the moment, but it should. And that will go away in a minute. And what I'm going to do here is all the way along the bottom, I'm just going to plough a little bit further out. And what that's going to do is just tidy this up so it's all nice and clean for me. Perfect. So now if I come out of this and I look, there'll be all of this farmed land going all the way across here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the plough and I'm going to continue. I'm just going to plough as far as I can. So in order to make sure I don't make any more mistakes, I'm now going to press Y to limit this to fields. That way it's not going to create new fields every time I go outside. If I go back outside now, nothing's going to happen. It's just grass. This is how we would create new fields, using the plough and allowing create new fields. Now we've got our field and we're happy with this field. What we want to do is plough it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to move from left to right, top to bottom, and we're going to go over this field. Bearing in mind it's 9:30 in the morning right now, so we want to do everything we need to do today within this field. The outcome for today is to plough this field and cut down some trees, and then we want to make sure we can get some money. That's the key, and to cut the grass, of course. Now the reason I want to cut the grass today is because it's August, and if we look in the menu for the crop calendar and we look at grass, grass will stop growing, or we can stop planting grass in November. That means we've got a few months left, and grass works in 3-month cycles. So if we get the grass cut today, it's very possible we're going to get another cut before the end of the year. And that's great, because that's really what we want. So we want to make sure we get the grass cut today, give it time to regrow before winter, and get another cut for additional money. Also, we want to make sure we got our crops planted so that next year we can get a harvest. So we're going to do that as well. So getting the field ready, and then we're going to start to clear some of these trees around our home just to give us a bit of space. Now I'm going to press Y to enable field so I can go over this grass here. There we go. And then I'm going to turn it off again so that I can turn it around here. I'm also going to lift up the plough, because by lifting it up I can turn around much quicker. This is going to allow me to line myself up, get myself ready, and once I'm in a position I can put this back down again by pressing V. And because I want to create these fields, there we go, I'm just going to go forward to do that, and I'm going to create these new fields. So this is all I need to do at this stage. I just need to be able to go up and down. I need to be able to create these fields. I'm going to keep the menu open so you see it. And at the moment we're on limit to fields, which means we can't go past this field. So now if I go off the edge, it won't add more field, as you can see here. Oh, I actually had the wrong button selected there. That was my bad. I actually did create more fields. But now, if I carry on, I won't. So we're going to finish this off. Now, you might ask yourself, how do I know if the whole field's been ploughed? And visually you can see that. But there are some things where you can't see it. There are certain areas where you're going to be able to do things like fertilising, for example, where you're not going to know whether the field has been fertilised or not. And the way that you would check on a field to know if something has been done is simply by pressing escape, going to the globe on the top left and zooming in to this field. Using the filters to come across, we can see different items and states. For example, has the land been cultivated? Has the land been ploughed? We can see by the purple the area that has been ploughed. Anything else that is activated here, you'll be able to see it just by using these filters. So if we see an area that we maybe have missed, it won't be purple. So we need to make sure we go over this whole plot of land. And that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to plough everything. And then once that's done, we're going to get ready to put down our crops. We're going to put down canola because that's going to be the best one for us to plant. And that's us done at that point. Once we have ploughed the land and then laid the seeds, that's our job done. We've done everything that we need to do at that stage. The only thing next that we can do if we want to is the ability to increase our yield. So every year your crops will give you a certain amount of yield. If you want to increase that yield, there are things that you'll need to do to improve it. And so I'm going to show you those as we continue to go through this here. Let me just allow create fields on. There we go. Now I'll turn that off and carry on. So for example, you could add fertilizer. If you add fertilizer, there are two stages of fertilizer, stage 1 and stage 2. If you add stage 1 fertilizer, you'll get 50% bonus on your crops. If you add stage 2 fertilizer, you'll get 100% bonus on your crops. You could roll your crops, something using a roller. You could de-weed and remove the weeds. That will reduce any penalties. You could lime the ground by putting lime in the ground. That's another thing that you could do. So there's lots of things that you can do in the early stages to increase the potential to earn more yield. And we'll cover all of that very shortly. But right now, we just want to get the crops in the ground. That's the first stage. Now on the left, as we're ploughing, you can see these little stones appearing on the left hand side. These stones, they come in 3 stages. There is a small, a medium and a large. Now small stones don't really bother you that much, they're not going to do too much, but large stones, yeah, large stones, they hurt. And if you don't deal with the large stones and fix them, then they are going to damage your crops. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to make sure that when we are looking at these stones, that we're ensuring, I'm just going to move this, I'm going to press this button, and away we go. You need to make sure with these stones that we remove them. Now, stage 1 stones, level 1 stones, they're easy to remove. In fact, you can remove them by rolling the ground. It crushes them into the ground. But if you don't deal with them, and they become medium or high large stones, then you'll need to use specialised machinery to get rid of them. It'll be more costly, but also they can do more damage if you don't. They can damage your attachments, your vehicles, and so you need to bear that in mind. So there's a lot of work that goes into these fields, and you need to be prepared to do that work to get the most out of them. At the moment, we're just ploughing. That's all we're going to do. And at this stage, we're pretty confident we know what we're doing, ploughing the field. It's very simple, it's very straightforward. I'm just going to take a moment, when I get to the bottom here, I'm going to plough the rest of that grass, and then we're going to get an AI computer to take over this job for us. Because they're more than capable of ploughing a field, they don't need us to do it. Now what I've found with the AI to make them efficient is it really helps when you actually do the outskirts, the outline, if you go around the outside. And then they're very good at doing everything in the middle. They do sometimes miss spots, you need to treat them just like an intern. I wouldn't leave them unattended, but they can do some basic tasks for you. So what we're going to do now is we're going to plough the field because we don't simply trust the AI to be able to do that. This is a job that I think requires a little bit more precision, a little bit more skill, and so we're going to actually do this ourselves. So we're just going to line ourselves up here. I'm going to put the tool back down, and all we're doing now right now is creating a new field. We're attaching it to the existing field, therefore we're just extending our field to make it a little bit bigger. Now I don't really need to do this, it's not important to do this. More than anything, I'm doing this to show you how it's done. Part of this walkthrough is going to be doing some tutorials. We're going to learn some stuff, I'm going to learn some stuff with you, but overall the whole purpose of this right now is just to show you so you understand why we're doing things and how to do them yourselves. So this is the plough, and this is the first tool. Now the cultivator works in a very similar way. The cultivator gets the land ready for seeding. Now if you have a cultivator, you can remove any old crops, that's not a problem, it will do that very easily. But if you wanted to remove a seed bed, for example, let's say for example you laid grass seeds. Grass seeds are different to crops. If I was to lay something like wheat, then when I harvested that wheat, I would need to cultivate the land, and then I would need to reseed. I would need to put down new wheat. And that's fine, but with grass, if I was to put down grass and the grass grows and I cut the grass, I do not need to put down more grass. I can simply wait for the grass to grow and I can recut it. This way we only use one set of seeds. This is known as a seed bed, and there are certain items within the game that you can use, and they are not used as one-time seeds, they're reoccurring. Now in this right now, if I wanted to remove grass, I couldn't cultivate the grass, I would need to plough it, because the only way to remove a seed bed is to plough it. And so right now we're just going through and we are ploughing the field. So that's that first section done there. We've done everything else. Now we're coming around to here. We want to use the AI. We want to hire someone to work for us. Now if I was to start on the farm at an angle like this and I was to hire the AI, they would go in that direction. I would end up with a diagonal field. Now I don't know what you've heard, but diagonal fields, they're not that trendy, and I really don't want one. I like to keep things in a nice straight line. Therefore I'm going to get this tractor to a point where I think I would like the AI to start, and I'm going to ensure I'm on my field. That way when I press H, the AI is simply just going to take over. Now I can jump out of the truck, move away, and the AI is going to continue to plough all of the field. This allows me to go on and do other things. So right now, whilst the AI is ploughing the field, because we don't need to watch that, I'm going to bring you over here to these trees, and I'm going to show you how we cut down a tree. So we select our chainsaw, we walk up to the tree, and we hold down the right mouse button. When you hold down the right mouse button, you can move to the left or to the right, and you can tilt your chainsaw. When you're at an angle to the tree, you're going to see this icon appear. This means we can cut. If it is green, we can cut. If it is blue, we simply cannot. You can see there we're out of reach. So what we're going to do is press left control to bend down. We're going to look down as close as we can to the floor. So we're as close as the floor to possible. And once we're there, we're simply going to hold down the left mouse. And that's it. We've just cut down that tree. Now, but Steve, you might say, why is the tree not falling? Well, some trees don't. Because this is a very light tree, it weighs just 63 kilograms, we can pick it up, left click, and we can drag it and throw it. And then it will fall down. We can even pick it up and move it. Maybe we want to take it somewhere else. What we can do right now, if we just take this, we'll put it on this path here, is we can see that this tree has lots of branches on it. The branches are worthless. They don't mean anything. If I look at the tree, we can see the info. This is a spruce tree. It is 5.4 meters in length and it weighs 63 kilograms. Now we can lift anything up to 200 kilograms. But what do we do with this to sell it? Well, in its current state, it's not worth very much. It's not very heavy, it's not very long, and it's got these branches on it. We would need to take out the chainsaw, point it in the middle this way, so not cut but straight on. When it's straight on looking down, press and hold the left mouse button. Nothing's going to happen. The chainsaw is going to go, but nothing's going to happen. And the reason for that is because we're going to press this, hold it down, and we're going to move forward. And in doing that, what we've done is stripped off all of those branches. In case you missed that, I'm going to show you again. We're going to take the chainsaw out. We're going to walk up to a tree. We're going to bend down at the tree. Turn our chainsaw sideways. We're going to look as low as we possibly can. And we're going to press left mouse. That tree is now ready to fall. We're going to pick the tree up. We're going to move it to an area where we can see. We're going to press the chainsaw button. We're going to look down. We're going to hold down left mouse. And we're going to move forward. Okay, so that's most of this. If we actually pick this up right now, you'll see there's almost nothing left. But sometimes if you've got bushes, if you've got branches or anything like that, they may get mistaken. But this is no good as it is. For example, we need to be able to move this. Well, one way that we can move this is to get our truck. We can actually put this in the back of our truck if we move over to where they are. We can even press the X key, and the X key will open up our tail flap. And now we have space that we can actually take one of these and put it on the back of the truck. So we pick it up, move around, and we can place it down here. Now, that's fine, but if I was to now drive off, say I drive really fast and do a donut or a spin, guess what? If I spin around too fast, I'm going to lose that off the back. It's going to fall off. And that is where dynamics comes into play, and one of the reasons why this game is so amazing. Another thing I could do is I could put this onto the back, as I did before, and you can see this highlighted green strap, which is a ratchet strap. Press R, and I will ratchet this in place. Now it's got 3 ratchet straps. Now if I spin around in circles, I can do it for days, and that is not going to go anywhere. Just bear in mind that if you were to hit something, or if you were to get jolted hard enough, you can break the ratchet straps. That way it is still possible to lose your load. I would say by driving recklessly, but you know, just by making a mistake. Let's say that. By making a mistake, you can still lose the load, even if it's secured. It's just less likely. Also, you can plant things in precarious ways. Just be aware that if you do that, you're probably going to end up in trouble. Now, if you've got this huge branch coming out the back here and it's just too long, and it doesn't matter if we've used the ratchet straps or not, but you just don't feel good, or it's causing trouble, let's say maybe you've got a trailer, well, you can just cut these down. If I cut them near the end, the rest of it will simply disappear. Like that. Again, if I cut this near the end will just disappear. If, however, I cut it with enough sustenance left, like there's enough left on it, and I was to make the cut, which we'll do just now. If I can find a spot to cut, that is. There we go. If I cut this, this actually falls off. and creates a new piece of log which I can put on the back. Trust me, it is not worth min-maxing over the smallest details. You are much better off just focusing on getting as many logs as you can. So that way, if you do need to reduce them in size to make it more convenient, I recommend doing that. But that's it. That's all we need to know about trees right now. If I come over here, I'll take one more. There's a third tree here. So I'm going to go sideways. I'm going to bend down. I'm actually going to look down as far as I can. Cut the tree. Once the tree's cut, I'm going to turn my chainsaw around. Going straight down the middle. Now it doesn't always get every single part of it, but it should give you a good idea. Now that that tree's been cut, I can pick this up. I can move it over here. Put it down, we can see there's no problems. I can chop off the end of it. Because that part's just waste anyway. I've got a much smaller piece. Weighs less now. But it's a lot more convenient and easy for me to put on. So if I put it on, I can move to another place. Try and get it so that it fits properly. In this case, somewhere around there. I can even drag it up this way if I need to. That now fits. But it comes off the edge a little bit, so I'm going to cut it as a result. And then simply by making that cut, got to find the right space where it works. Sometimes you might need to jump over to the other side. You'll figure out what works for you. But get yourself to that place where you can cut this. And once you're there, you can cut it. And then you can take this and you can put this on as well. So sometimes it's just easier and better to do that instead. I'm going to ratchet it up. And that's it. That's pretty much all you need to know about forestry. Now there's machinery, there's different size trees, there's different types of trees, there's lots you can do. But for the very basics, just by buying a chainsaw, coming here, chopping down trees, putting them into our truck, we're able to take them and then we can go and sell them. Now something else we can do if we wanted more space is we could use the truck. We can actually back up to the trailer and we can attach this trailer to our truck. That is going to allow us to throw in more sticks, we can fill it up a lot more and we can earn more money as a result. So we've now got the trailer on board. We're going to come out and if we simply put this over here, this is a place where we're going to be able to cut down trees and by doing that we're going to be able to earn some money. So here we go. We're going to cut this down. I'm also going to cut down another small one. So I'm only looking for the small ones right now because they're just easier to pick up by hand. I will show the other ones a bit later, but not just now. But this is going to allow me to cut down all these trees, especially the small ones, and put them into that truck. Okay. So another thing, as I mentioned, if you want more money, you're going to have to clear all the branches off. Also, it helps if you just shear off the end. After we've done that, I'm going to pick this up. As you can see, I actually missed a couple of branches there, so I'm going to go back and get those. You can also do spots where you just look at the area as you're on there. Press the trigger for no more than a second. And that should have got rid of most of the stuff for us. If you can't get it, don't worry. It's not the end of the world. It is something that can be annoying sometimes, but don't worry, you can just move it around, try it again. And once you're done, we can put this in our trailer. Now you might need to position yourself and move around a bit, but this is something you can totally do. There you go, we've now got that in our trailer. So there's another branch that we've got. We can do the same thing here, running backwards. If you don't get all the branches, just try it again. And the idea here, what we're aiming to do, is try and move all of those parts so it becomes a lot easier for us to get in. We can pick it up, move it around. If you need to, you can throw it by pressing right click. Sometimes it will throw it in, sometimes it won't. It really depends on how heavy it is and your angle and position. But if it doesn't, don't worry, you can give it a little jump with a space bar and then you're inside. Make sure you line it up in the best way. I can even come to here if I want to. I can drag it towards me a little bit. I've actually just thrown it out. That wasn't what I wanted to do. Here I'm able to pick it up and I'm able to place it inside. So there we go. It's now done. And I can continue to do that, adding more and more of these as I go. There's going to be a lot of trees. There's going to be a lot of space. And so that's something I can do, is just continuously chop down trees. And once I've done that, make the space, chop down some more trees, and the cycle continues. Very, very good if you need some starting capital, you don't really have any friends, you don't know anyone in the game. You can do this, again, just to earn some basic money. So as long as you have a chainsaw, you have the ability to earn money. Alright, now I'm going to just chop this because that end bit's just a bit too messy. And then I'm going to move this up. Keeping it inside. And there we go. 3 sticks all sticking out the back there. Now we can get back into our tractor. And it looks like the tractor's finished. Well, maybe just missed a little bit. So if we press escape, we're going to see our field. We can see the area that's ploughed. And the whole thing's been ploughed except this one line for some reason. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to finish this plough. We're going to do that just by going through this line. So we're going to lower the plough. And we're simply just going to go forward. And this is going to plough the land for us. And now this is done, we are going to be able to take the next step, which in this instance is adding seeds. Now I made a mistake at the end there, so I'm actually going to press escape once I've got to the end here. We're just going to get to the end of this field. Now I'm going to press escape, go down to the, I'm going to press P, go down to construction, go to landscaping, planting. I'm going to use the grass. I'm going to come down to this area and I'm going to fill this grass area in. You see how that works? There we go. Now it's nice and clean. And this is what I was trying to do at the other end, but it didn't work. So if you want those perfect lines, if you've got a bit of an OCD like me, this is just a way that you can do that. Nice and easy for you to be able to create this land. So again, I can do this if I wanted to. I can do all of this to turn this into grass if I needed to. I don't need to. This isn't something I need to do. I'm just kind of showing you what's possible. And then if this was all grass, I could come back and plough it. Ploughing it again, very, very simple. Just need to come across like this. Now it's going to cost me money to do this. So it's not cheap and it can get very expensive very quickly. But again, it does show you how you can create the perfect field. If you go over or you go make a mistake, that's absolutely fine. You can create it. Now I can't create this corner, unfortunately. This corner's not working, but you do get the idea. And that's it. That's all there is to know about getting your field ready. This is now in a ready state. As you can see, field is owned by me, not fertilised, and needs lime. But we're not going to put lime in it just yet. What we're going to do is to go back to our warehouse, our shed. And we're going to drop off our plough. Now we have crop destruction turned on, meaning if there are crops here and we move over them, we'll destroy them. It doesn't matter in a seedling stage, but as they start to grow, yes, you will have to avoid driving over these fields. Also, I'm going to pick this plough up because we're driving very slow with it on. Alright, so we're going to spin this around. Let's just turn it in here. It's very, very dirty, as is all of our equipment. So something else I'm going to do at this stage. Now, you don't have to do this now, I just want to. I'm going to press P, go into construction. I'm going to go into tools, and I'm going to buy myself, actually no, it is not, it is in decoration, I think. No, it is not, it is, I don't know where it is. It is in tools, it's in buildings, in tools, and we want the Karcher. The Karcher is a pressure washer. So we are going to put this pressure washer just here by the door as we come in. Here it is. It cost us £4,500. It's quite a lot of money. But now that we've bought this, we can press R to pick it up. And we can use it. So we can come to any of our equipment that's dirty and we can pressure wash it. You can hold it in the same spot and not move, or you can move around for a bit more realism. But the reality is, as long as you're pressing it in the right area, it will gradually start to remove the dirt and make the item look brand new. It will not replace any paint. You'll have to do that separately. But let's give you this tractor as an example. Look at the door of the tractor. In fact, if I was to get in the tractor and show you it, look at how dirty the glass is at the bottom there. Look at how dirty this tractor is, right? So we're going to pick up the Karcher. bearing those things in mind, I want you just to watch the door as I spray it. And you'll see how it just starts to slowly fade away. And how this dirty old tractor that didn't look very nice is now starting to look like a brand new tractor. The power of pressure washing is incredible in this game. It takes the dirtiest, most run-down objects and it makes them look brand new. Therefore, we're going to take pride in our equipment. We're going to clean everything so that all of this dirt that you can see here just disappears. And it makes the item look brand new. There we go, you can see that disappearing now. Visually you're just going to have to keep an eye on this. This is how you're going to do it. But there we go. That is how we would do this. So now what we're going to do is get into our tractor. And we're going to take the plough and we're going to place the plough right in the bottom corner. Now we're not going to need that again for a while unless we make a new field. So we can go ahead and just drop that. Now what we need to do is we need to seed. Well, seeding is very simple. We just need to pick up the seeder. So we're going to move it. Now you can put it on the front, the back, wherever you want. Doesn't matter. But you just need to connect. So lining up that yellow pipe with our tractor, pressing Q. We've now got the seeder. And we can come back outside and head over to our farm. We can position ourselves as we did before, so we're right at the start and that we're facing in the right direction. Once we've done that, we then need to select what seed we want. We do that by pressing Y. Right now we're on wheat. If we change, we've got barley, oat, canola, soybeans, sorghum, oilseed and grass. And you can also see that in the bottom right hand corner. It tells us we have 50% or 304 litres of seeds. But it doesn't tell us what seed we have, and that's because we haven't planted anything. So I'm going to unfold the seeder. I'm going to lower the seeder. I'm going to turn on the seeder. And then I'm going to hire a computer to be able to do this. And they are just going to continue to get the field ready. Now we can see, look at the difference in states. This is a ploughed field. This is a seeded field. And now this is seeded, we can see it says crop type, canola, growing with a 48% yield bonus. It's 26% fertilized, but we have weed, which is growing. We have lime, which is needed, and it needs rolling. So we need to grow the crops in the most efficient way possible. And anything that is blue is an action point that you need to take action to increase your yield. That is what you can do to increase your yield and what you should consider. Now right now, the most important thing for us is just getting this farm done and ready. Because it's going to start to every day in the game. So 1 day in the game is equivalent to 1 month in the game. And it takes about 2 hours for a day to pass in real time. So every 2 hours we're going into our next month. I feel like this is a good pace. And so that's it. Our field is going to be done. We don't need to do anything else here. So now what I can do is I can take you whilst that is happening through the menu. So on the left hand side in the purchase menu by pressing P, we can see all the new vehicles that we might want to buy. There's lots here. We can see all the tools that we might want to buy. We can also see the objects that we might want, the packs. So if I wanted to, for example, deal with winter, these are all the items I might need, a snow shovel, etc, etc. This is a great tab. This is the shop. This is where you can get anything used. So this is the used deal shop. So right now here, for example, this is a cultivator. But this cultivator right now is 59% off. We can see that it's been owned for 24 months and it's done 27 hours, which is nothing really. Tippers, trailers, etc. Lots of stuff at a discount. You can get some really good deals in here. Now, this is nothing that we actually want right now. What we want is a lawnmower. If we have a lawnmower, we always have a way to make money in the game. Therefore, we're going to go to our tools and we're going to click on lawnmowers. So we're going to look through all the list and there we can see mowers. Now, there's lots of different options here from mowers at the start all the way from here up to here. And with any item in the game, you really need to understand, well, what is it? Well, for mowers, it's about the width. This will cut at a width of 2.4 meters, whereas this will cut at a width of 12.3 meters. So you need to understand the difference. Now, these are front mowers, these are back mowers. So the front mower here is 3.5. So would I prefer to be cutting at 2.4 or 3.5? And is it worth the additional £3,000 that it's going to cost? Because this is 12,000 and this is 15,000. Also, is there anything else that could cost more or could be worth more? Maybe this, for example, 4 meters at 20,000. Now, I'm going to, for the purpose of this, buy, because I know what I want to buy, I'm going to buy this. This is a £15,000 lawnmower. It's going to cut up 3.5 meters in width. And that's fine. That's all I need. Now, I've got a limited budget and this is going to cost me some money. But what I also need to take into consideration here is the horsepower. Now, this requires, the requirement is 95 horsepower to use this effectively. So let's go ahead and look in our garage at our small tractor. Now, we can see here that this small tractor has 135 horsepower. What this means is that if we combine multiple items or a single item that is more than 135 horsepower, we are going to struggle to use it. If we're trying to use something that's too high in terms of power requirement, we simply won't be able to move. If we're using something on the borderline, then we might struggle to go uphill, we might struggle to do things, it's going to slow us down. And so you need to take into consideration with the lightning bolt through the engine, that is what is given, as in that is the HP, the horsepower given. And if it is an exclamation mark, like we're going to see here, then that is what is required. So 95 horsepower is fine, we know we have enough. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And then it brings up some more information. You can see the weight, what is required, the top speed. So mowing this, the top speed is going to be 13 miles per hour. And you might want to check that against other mowers. Some of them might be slower, faster. This one only goes at 12 miles an hour. The rest of them are pretty much the same. So they're absolutely fine. So we're going to go ahead and click on this. Now, I want to buy this. I think this is a nice one. We could lease it by pressing space. It's £15,000 to buy it. Or we can lease it for £765. There is a day fee of £150 and an hour, this is a real world hour fee of £315. There's also a base cost. So I don't want to pay this. So we're going to say no because I don't want to lease it. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to buy it. Now we bought it, we own it. That simply means that we can go and pick it up. And so once that tractor is finished, we're going to go ahead and pick up our lawnmower. Okay, so we've covered quite a bit so far. I mean, it's the basics, but we've covered quite a bit. So I just want to recap and make sure you're okay before we continue. We talked about the field. We understand the basics. We've talked about how we're going to make money. We're going to do that by cutting grass. And we're going to do that by cutting trees. There's several other things we can do in this game. And let's just take a moment and start to think about what those things are going to be. Remember, this is a simulation. So you get to do whatever you want to do. You can add mods. You can customize this. There's no real end game here. But the reality is that you want to try and create an experience, in my opinion, that's, you know, relative to what you enjoy and what you want to do. For me, it's about starting with nothing and grinding up, which is why I love this map. I also think this is a great way to teach you the basics. Now, there's other ways that we can make money. There are greenhouses, there's animals, there's other things, and we'll go through all of this. But we have to think about where we are right now. We're in August. Because we have seasons enabled, we have to think about how much time do we have left before the end of the year. In a couple of months, it's going to be winter, and we're not really going to be able to do much. So we want to kind of set ourselves up and get ourselves ready. We always need to be thinking forward and thinking ahead of what we're going to do next. For example, if we cut the grass today, then we're going to have a few months where the grass can regrow. If we look here, we can see that the grass, it's able to be planted up until November. So if we cut it today, we'll get a few more months of growth. And that's one of the things we need to really think about here is what are we going to do next? So each day is going to be planned out. We're going to carefully think about what we're going to do ahead of time, and we're going to go ahead and do it. Now, you might not want to play like this, that's fine, but hopefully by doing this, it's going to give you a bit more of an insight into a lot of the different opportunities here. Now, we've got our AI worker who is doing the job there, which is great. And we're at this moment, while we're waiting, going to cut down a couple more trees. So we're always being proactive. That way, when it comes to going and doing the next job, we're not waiting around. So we're just going to do what we did before. Clearing this out. We'll take off the end. It's just easier to do that. And we're going to pick this up and we're going to go and chuck it in our truck. And we're going to do that for all of these kind of smaller trees that we see here. Only the smaller ones. Later, we'll actually be able to hire equipment, and that's actually really fun. You'll enjoy that, and I'll talk you through how we can do the forestry. For now, we're just going to do the basics. Now, if you're actually wondering, well, how much money can I make for doing this? You can work it out. What you would need to do is press escape, come to the market screen here. On the left hand side, look down for trees, which is classed as wood. And here you can see that the shop is going to buy the wood at £1,777. That is per 1,000 litres. Now, I don't know the conversion from kilograms to litres. You'd have to work that out. But that gives you an idea. And if we show the price fluctuations, I mean, it doesn't really change. It drops £8 in August. Other than that, it's consistent. You're going to get £1,800 consistently for your wood. Great. So we know we have a consistent income stream. So let's go ahead and we're going to cut down these trees. And we're going to load up our truck. And then, in a moment, we're going to take that truck and we're going to sell it. All this time, the AI is planting our field for us. So we're multitasking right now, which is great. That is a very, very small log. It just weighs 41 kilograms. Okay. We'll chuck that in there. So we can't actually see the weight at the moment. We can of the wood there. But we can't actually see the weight. We'd have to look on each individual one of these because they don't belong in here. We're just stacking them on top, basically. But you can see the different weight of the different trees. And you could actually work it out if you went to the shop. I don't know what it is, but you could work it out if you needed to. But 1,000 litres is going to pay us 1,800. So, again, let's just cut down a couple more of these trees here. I'm going to cut down a few at once. Again, I'm not going to cut down any of these bigger barks, these ones. I'm only going for these like tiny little spruce trees. And you can kind of see, you'll start to learn and get a feel for what these ones are. The reason I'm only doing the small ones is because I can pick these small ones up. I know that this type of tree, because of the size and the type of tree it is, once I've cut it down, I know I can pick it up. Some of the bigger trees, I can't. If I chop it down, I'm going to struggle. And in fact, I'm going to show you that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm actually going to chop down. Let me just get rid of this. Sometimes you're going to struggle getting these. You'll have to go back. Just aim for a point. You'll be able to do them. So now I'm going to chop down this tree. Now this is a much, much bigger tree, as you can see. We can still chop it down. Same thing. Still works. But this is a 35-meter tree. That means it's a lot heavier. We can only pick up a weight of 200 kilograms. If we look at the weight of this tree, it is 3.9 tons. We simply can't. If we try and pick it up, it says object too heavy. We can't move it. Now, as I mentioned, there are cheats where you could mod to give yourself unlimited strength, but I think that kind of defeats the purpose of this game, and so I'm not going to enable anything like that. We are going to struggle and deal with it properly. How we do that is to come to the tree, and we have two choices. Either we use machinery to pick this tree up, and we'll get to that, or we have to cut it. And if we cut it, we have to try and cut it so that each individual section is just 200 kilograms. Now, as we can see, this part I've cut is 470 kilograms. The remainder of the tree is 3.4 tons. It's a big tree. So I know I need to cut it again. And now this piece is 192 kilograms. Perfect, I can pick this up. This one is 278, which means it's still too heavy. I would need to cut it again, because it has to be under 200 kilograms in mass before I can pick it up. Now we have this part which is 86, this part which is 192, and that's great. So what we can do is we can... we don't actually want to run that over to our truck. We're a bit lazy. We're actually going to jump in our truck. Now we can drive our truck. We're going to bring it over to here. We're going to jump out. We're going to grab these. And we're just going to throw them in the back here. Alright, so there we go. We've just picked up those pieces. There's another piece here. And they're now in the back. Now, I'm not going to do the whole tree, but you do get the idea of what I was talking about. We're going to have a look at the AI worker who's still working. He's doing the last part there, which is great. So we're going to let him finish that field. He's almost done. And we're going to finish off this last tree. Alright, perfect. So now we have this tree, we can pick it up. Oh, we actually missed a bit on the end there, so we're just going to go and take that off. Okay. So we're going to try and load these in the back. You'll get used to the dynamics of how the game works. It's a little bit hit and miss at start, but you'll get used to it. You just need to bear in mind the collision, the hit markers. So if a tree hits another tree, or a pallet hits another tree, another pallet, it can mess stuff up. It's the way the simulation's built, but it's overall it's very good and quite realistic. Alright, now you can see I actually missed quite a few bits there, so I'm gonna get that one and that one. If you can't get it, just move around, get a better angle, you will eventually get it. Also the weight, if you pick a stick up in the middle, it will balance perfectly. If I pick it up in the middle, as you can see, it's fine. If I pick it up at one end, you'll be able to see it drags down on the left side. You can't really see it in the screen, but it's actually dragging it down on the left side, and that's because wherever you pick it up, it balances. Also, if I run into this tree, it's going to smash out the way as it normally would. You see? The tree affects it, and eventually I drop it. So, very good dynamics within the game, and you'll kind of figure those out. As I said, there's sometimes a little bit of a challenge, especially when you're doing stuff like this, trying to move stuff around and put stuff into places. It can be a bit of a challenge, but it's part of the fun. Alright, so just going to look around. I think we got most of those small branches. Could possibly be another one, I don't know. Yep, there's one here. Oh, we actually did that. We cut it, we just didn't actually knock it down. Okay, so we're going to do that. Cut that and pick that up. Excellent. So now we've got all these small little tree branches out the way. Oh, we just dropped that one. And we know that the tractor should have finished by now. Oh, we can go on to the next step of what we need to do. So I'm just going to chop the end off of this. Or maybe I'm not, because I can't actually... There we go. Wow, that does not want to cut. Let me see if I can... There we go. That's it. I just wanted to get that last bit off there. Just so it doesn't cause too much trouble with overhang. There we go. So that's now done. We can take our truck and we can move it. Now again, if I was to, as I mentioned before, drive too fast, go over a bump, swing around a corner, I'm going to lose all of those sticks that are precariously balanced on top. So I want to drive very carefully, quite slowly. I don't want to make any sudden turns. I want to be able to just drive and head up. Oh, I'm going to lose one there. But I haven't yet, so I'm going to keep driving until it goes. And there it goes. We're going to drag that back in. In fact, we're going to cut that bit off. Make it a bit smaller, and that way we know it's going to fit in easier. And again, sometimes it's just easier to do it this way. Alright, here we go again. Now we could have obviously fit a lot more trees in the back. I'm just using this as an example right now. I also want to be very aware of the time of day. I didn't even see where that one went. Oh, it's right there. Oh, it's not even going to let me cut that one because I'm not in my area, so that's fine. I'm going to just chuck that in the back. Sit it down there. It will be fine. It's a good example of how to secure your load. And we can't use ratchets. We've got ratchets in the truck, but we can't put them in this trailer. So this trailer's not the best trailer for us. I think we're going to lose another one in a minute, maybe. We'll see. We'll just try and get there as quickly as we possibly can. Now remember, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We've got a limited amount of time. We're already halfway through this video. And there's still quite a lot we need to do. For example, the next thing we need to do is cut the grass. Now I want to be able to do that so it can start growing next month. Now we've already bought the lawnmower, but we need to bring the tractor up here so that we're able to do that properly. Now, there's quite a lot of grass to cut. Quite a lot of grass. And we can make some good money out of that. But in order for that to happen, we need to work together. So I'm going to drive this onto the platform. This is a sow platform. And as I mentioned in my previous video, come up to this door and press R. And we just sold that, and we got £2,109 for that sold wood. Great, we just made £2,000. Oh, we didn't sell all the wood, so let's just back up a little bit because that was not on the trailer. And then let's try and sell that again. There we go, we got another £54 for that wood. Good to know. Alright, now we can head back with the truck. Now we can't do anything with that lawnmower because we can't put it on the truck. So what we're going to do right now is we're just going to move the truck out the way. And we'll come back to that truck in a minute. Let's take the tractor. We're going to press escape, look into the menu, and we're going to see if this has been done. We want to see what seeds are down, so crop type is canola. And there we go, we can see. All done. Great. So we'll come and put this seeder away, now that that's finished. And there's other things we can do to that field. You know, we can roll it, we can weed it, we can definitely remove the stones. There's things that we can do. But right now, there's just not a top priority for us. They're not that important. We don't have any fertilizer. We don't have any lime. If we look at the menu and turn on the filters, so if we look here on the filters for soil composition and we look at weeds, there's no weeds, great. Fertilized, that bit's a little bit fertilized. Needs lime, the whole field needs lime. Needs rolling, the whole field needs rolling. Stones, yellow. Stage 1, lots of yellow stones. Now we could hire a machine to pick up the stones, or we could roll them because it needs rolling anyway. So maybe if we were to roll them, we could do that to get rid of the stones and also to increase the yield. Now, we don't want to go out and buy a roller, it's quite expensive. But what we could do is hire a roller for now, and we could also pick that up at the same time that we're about to pick up the lawnmower. Now bearing in mind it is 2:30 in the afternoon, we've got limited time, and so I need to think about what I'm going to do for the rest of the day. Now getting the grass cut for me is quite important, because I want it to start growing again next month. I want to try and get 2 yields of grass before the end of the year. The other thing we need to consider when we cut the grass is how do we sell it. You see, with the trees, we sold wood. That wood was fine, it made us some money. But what if we didn't sell the wood? What if we used the wood for something else? What if we took the wood that we chopped down the trees with and we put it into a sawmill? The sawmill would create planks, and the planks we could sell for more money. But why stop there? What if we don't sell the planks? What if we take the wood into the sawmill to make planks, and then we take the planks from the sawmill and put them in the carpentry to make furniture? These are production chains, and we can create multiple different production chains. If you get bored with the ones inside the game, there are hundreds of mods with many different production chains. You can really customize this game how you see fit, and that's the beauty of this simulation. Now, for now, we're going to stick to the basics, and we're not going to install any mods. And for that, what I need to understand is, what do we want to build in terms of a production chain? Now, we want to build something that's profitable, right? So if I press escape, and we look down on the left hand side to the market, we look at wood. Wood sells at the moment for 1,800 per 1,000 litres. But if we took that wood and we put it in a sawmill and we got planks, we could sell those for 2,500. So we're going to make more. And if we took those planks into furniture, we're going to make 3,900. So you can see the progression. And that's one of the things we want to take into consideration. Now let's look at grass. Grass on its own would sell for £89 per 1,000 litres. Not really that much. But what we can do with that grass is we can turn it into silage. If we turn it into silage, we can sell it for 341 per 1,000 litres. Now obviously it depends on the time you sell it. You're going to get more for it in February than you are in August. But you get the idea. Grass on its own is not worth that much. Turning it into silage is worth much more. And we need to have a look and understand the price of straw, the price of hay, the price of rice, the price of wood, etc, etc. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to buy a machine that we need, or we're going to lease, sorry. So we're going to go into here and we're going to get a stone roller. Now the stone roller is £41,000. That's a big chunk of our balance. We don't want to pay that. So we're going to lease it because it's £2,000 to lease it. Now that we've done that, we can pick it up. We've got our mower that we actually bought because we're going to use that a lot. That's on the front of our tractor. And we're going to put on the back, we're going to put the roller. Now again, something you need to consider when you do this. Look at the HP required. This is 160 horsepower. Now we only have 135 horsepower on our tractor. That means if we look at the lawnmower as well, and the lawnmower is 95 HP. That means that combined, if we tried to use the roller, in fact I'll show you it right now. See, we can move them on their own, they're okay. But let's open this up. Let's lower it down. Alright. And let's turn it on. Or we can't turn it on. But let's also get the front. And let's open it up. And let's lower it down. We are really, look at us, we are really struggling to move. In fact, we can only do 3 miles per hour. And they're not even turned on. If we were to turn on these items, I'm pretty much guaranteeing you, we wouldn't be able to move. And so you have to consider when you're doing this, are you able to use these items? Now we can move them, that's not a problem. The effective horsepower really requires the usage of the machine rather than just the transporting of. Alright, so we're now in move mode. This has a top speed of 25 miles an hour. Also we can see it's knackered with damage. It also needs fuel. We'll have to put some diesel in. So they're all things we need to do. But we're limited on time today, so we're going to do the absolute best to get that field ready and get that grass cut. The trees we can come back to during the winter. We don't need to worry about them too much now. Alright, so recapping what we've done today. We've checked over our buildings, we've seen all of the vehicles we've got our field ready, we've chopped down some trees, and we're going to cut the grass. That's a good start. That's a good first day. Something else to consider when we think about how we can make money, there are also passive sources of income within this game. You can buy solar panels and create a solar farm. You can set up greenhouses. There's lots of different production chains. Now, we're going to talk all about that as we go through this game. But let's just start with the basics and stay here for now, because this is what's important. So now what I'm going to do, because it's going to be very difficult to move this, I'm actually going to drop the mower. Oh, I'm going to drop it right here. There we go. I'm now going to move with this roller. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to set myself up on this field. Now this is not only going to roll, this is going to increase the yield. So if we look at where we are at the moment in the field, we have 36% yield, 35% yield roughly. And we have stones. So lowering this and turning it on and moving forward. As you can see, we're really struggling to move already, but all we need to do is move forward, and that's it. We're starting to roll. You can see the stones are going to disappear. Yep, there we go. The stones are now disappearing, and we're rolling this field. Now you might ask yourself the question, well, how do I know what's been rolled? Well, luckily for this, visually we can actually see the difference between the land that's rolled and the land that's not. But it's not always like this. Sometimes you can't see. If you can't see, just press escape, top menu, filter, what needs rolling? Well, that area doesn't need rolling. And so that's what we need to do. So, we're going to get to the end here. Once we get to the end, we're going to press V to pick up, because it's going to be easier to turn around. Make sure we get right off the edge first. So we press V, it picks it up, and we can turn around a lot easier, a lot quicker. Oh, it's going to be a tight one. No, we can't make it. So we're going to press X, because that's going to move it in a little bit. We're going to turn around, and then we're going to press X again to bring it back out. And we're going to line ourselves up ready for the next roll. We're going to drop it. And away we go. So again, we want to try and stay in these straight lines. It doesn't matter if we slightly overlap, that's absolutely fine. But we want to try and be as effective as possible. Remember, if we have this for too long, we're going to pay per hour for it. It's real world hours. And the reason we leased it is because we're going to do this field and be done with it. It's a lot of money to buy. You don't have to do this, but it will increase your yield. And right now, we want to do everything we can to increase our yield. Eventually, we'll buy one of these. But if we were to cultivate the land a second time, it would take the small stones and make them bigger. And then they become a lot harder to deal with. They do more damage to the machines. And so, again, sometimes it's better to do this. And there's a lot of stones here. You could also use machines to pick up the stones. You can use the stones. There's actually a way that you can use them to create gold. And so you want to be able to consider, is this a resource you can use? If so, how do you use it? Should I just sell this directly, or is there a better way for me to be doing this? Oh, really struggling there. And this is the problem with this tractor. Because it is the absolute basic tractor that is very badly damaged, it's very difficult to be able to get it going. Look at that field. What a beautiful field. All ready to go. And we had 35% yield before. Let's have a look and see what we get now. We're going to get to the end. I'm actually going to turn around because I think I saw some stones that I maybe missed along the edge here. I might be wrong. No, there is. There's some stones just there that I missed. Now, they might be medium stones. I don't think they are. I think I just might have missed them. So I'm going to come back and see if I can grab them. Yep, there you go. They've gone now. Perfect. So we can double check. Oh, there's a little bit at the bottom there where we didn't do. You can see just a tiny bit there and a tiny bit there. It doesn't matter. We don't need to do it. Are there any stones left? No, all the stones are gone. Great. So we're happy with that. That's done. Now I can press P, go to my leased equipment, click on my roller, click on return. You can see I've only used it for like a minute. it's fine. So return it. There's no damage, which means we don't... If there's any damage, or if you've had it for longer, you have to pay an additional fee. There's not for us, so we can return it. There's no additional fee. Oh, great. So that's the roller done. So now, the field is ready. If we look here, we can see we're now at 38% yield bonus, a little bit more. Not much, but a little bit. But also, there is now no stones. Great. Now let's go and get our lawnmower. I wouldn't worry too much with the lawnmower about perfection. You don't need to mow every single bit of grass. This is more of a just do the best you can and try and be effective with your time. So, because we can only mow the fields that we own, we're actually going to back out of this field into the previous one, which I think is about here. We're going to unwrap the mower, we're going to lower it, and we're going to turn it on, and it says we do not have access to this land. As we start to drive forward, you'll see it start to cut as soon as we get onto our land. There we go, now it's cutting. But not only is it cutting, it is leaving a trail of grass behind. That grass we need to pick up. There are many ways we can do this. There's many ways that we can deal with this. Initially, we might just want a forager. A forager is something that we can use to drag along and it will pick up the grass. And if we had a tractor that was strong enough, we could have the lawnmower on the front and the forager on the back. That way we could actually pick up the grass as we mow it, meaning we only need to make one trip. That sometimes could be more effective. Another tool that we could use is something called a wind rake. Now, a wind rake is something that will collect the grass and compile it together. For example, if I was to drive down the middle with these two lines of grass, it would combine them into one. It can take 3, 4, maybe 5 lines of grass and combine it into one. Meaning rather than making 5 trips up and down, I can simply do one trip, pull it all together, and then I can do one trip to collect it all. So I take 5 trips and I turn it into 2. So there's lots of tools that you can get that's going to make your life easier, and you'll learn about them. In fact, I'm going to talk through them all. But for now, let's just focus on getting this grass cut. Now I want to try and be respectful and not go over the crops if I can help it. Also, as I said, you don't need to do every single bit. You can if you want, but I don't need to do this where I back up and get that bit and do the rest of it. It's not really that important here. Also, I don't need to be worrying about going around trees and trying to cut the grass around rocks. It's just simply not important. Nice. There's a helicopter. Quite a few nice little features that the developer has added to this map. Really appreciate it. And that's it. That'll do for now. We've just done those 4 little lines. Oh. Turn our lawnmower back on and let's go again. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go down here. Again, I'm not going to bother with all that over there. It's a bit finicky, a lot of messing about, and I don't really have much time in the day. It's already nearly 4 PM. We haven't got much time left before the evening. So I'm just going to go ahead here, do this part. And then I'm going to head out the back. Oh, over that. Okay, so I'm going to get to here, and I'm going to turn right. And I'm going to go pretty much in a straight line here. I'm going to go as far as I can until it stops cutting. That will let me know when I'm on the edge of the map. Once I get there, I'm going to turn left. I'm going to do the same thing again. As you can see, there's a bit of a hill here. And you're going to see the difference. I'm doing 13 miles per hour at the moment. As I start to go up this hill, and you'll see this in a second, let me just spin around here. This tractor will start to struggle. And you'll realise it can't make it up this hill. Specifically, if I've got very limited horsepower. So let's say I'm pulling something behind me. Look, see? 3 miles an hour. I am really, really struggling to get up this hill. And that is simply 1, because the tractor doesn't have a big engine, and 2, because I'm struggling with that mower. This is why you always need to be careful of what type of lawnmower you have, what type of equipment you have, also what type of tractor you have, what type of equipment you have, like the lawnmower, and what is the land like. Also, how badly damaged is your equipment? All of these things play a part and a factor in this game. Alright, so we're going to go to as far as we can here. Again, it's another hill. We can see we're struggling with this. We'll go until it says it's not our land. There we go. Now if we pick it up, we'll move a bit quicker. So we've just picked up the lawnmower. And now we're going to go again in a straight line here. And we can see just how much land we actually own. There is a huge amount of land here. And as a result, there is a huge amount of grass here. This is all our grass. And we can cut it all. And we can sell it all. In the early stages of the game, when we're struggling for money, we want to do everything we can to earn as much money as we can. So right now, we're just going to cut grass. The thing I want to just talk to you about briefly is what do we do with this grass? Now I mentioned we could just sell the grass. That is a perfectly viable option. We could buy a grass forager and we could just sell the grass. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's as far as we can go here. Oh, I'm just going to turn around. Now, I can go back and do all of the other parts, what I've just missed, because you can see I've just taken a bit of an angle here. But I'm just going to go back in a straight line. Now, we can fill the rest in later, that's not a problem. But I really want to get into the habit of making straight lines. It makes life so much easier. I'm looking at the radar in the bottom left hand corner and I'm going 90 degrees. That is east. So you've got 0, 90, 180, 270, 360 or 0. So I'm sticking to 90. That means I know I'm going left to right. This allows me to kind of map out my field. And as you can see, that's a nice straight line. When I come to pick this up, it's just going to make life a lot easier for me. Pick up my lawnmower, spin around, I come back again and I place the lawnmower back down by pressing V and away I go. I can press number 3, which will put it on cruise control, which means now I only need to use the left and right key to adjust. And I don't use the compass anymore because I did that for the first one. Now I just try and stay as close to that edge as possible to get as much of it as I can. And that's it. It is as simple as that to cut grass. But as I was saying, we need to consider, what are we going to do with this grass? If we sold the grass as it is, we're going to make 89p per 1,000 litres. And that's fine. But what if we wanted to make more? What if we wanted to turn this grass into silage? Well, there's actually 2 options for us to do that. The first option is we take the grass, we collect it, and we put it into a bunker. A silo bunker will allow us to put the grass in. We would then need to level the grass, compact the grass, cover the grass, and then leave it for a couple of days. Fermenting the grass takes about 2 days. Now, or 2 months in this case of this game. That is a perfectly viable option and something you can do. However, you're going to pay about £25,000 for the bunker silo. You're then going to pay about another £10,000 in tools for a leveler and a compressor. Already, that's £35,000 you've spent. You then need to get a grass forager, which is a few more thousand to rent, and then you need a tractor that's going to be big enough that it can crush and compress the soil. This tractor will struggle to carry a compactor, it will struggle with a forager. We wouldn't even be able to use a forager with the lawnmower. In fact, as you saw just now, it struggles with a lawnmower. This tractor struggles. You really don't want to be thinking about how you can multitask with this tractor. It's a simple tractor, it's on its last legs. We need to upgrade it as soon as we can, but tractors are expensive. A decent tractor is going to set you back anything between £200,000 to £300,000, and we just simply don't have that money right now. So we need to make do. The other option that we have to be able to deal with this grass is we could just forage it and sell it directly, as we mentioned, or there is another option for silage. We could use what is called a baler. Now a baler will take the grass and will turn it into grass bales, very much like when you see in the fields with the hay bales. We can use a baler to create a bale of grass, and then we can wrap that bale of grass, and then we can leave it in the field to ferment. And you might have seen this in the real world as you're out driving. Those big round barrels that are in the fields, normally wrapped in black, looks like they're wrapped in big bin bags. They're normally grass, and it's normally fermenting to turn the grass into silage. Now, there's many ways that we can do the baling. We could buy a baler, and it will bale the grass, but if it rains right now, we're going to ruin this grass, because the grass, by the way, if it rains, and you cut the grass in the rain, you get less yield. Also, if you don't deal with the grass and it rains, the grass, it goes rotten. It goes moulded. It's no good. And so you have to make sure the grass is covered. Now, once the grass is wrapped and the bale is wrapped, it's safe. Nothing can go wrong. Now you could use a baler and you could use a wrapper. In fact, if I show you right now, we'll go to the shop and we come here to balers. So we're going to scroll down, and here are balers. So this is the forage wagon. So this is what we could use to just pick up the grass. This is going to pick up 16.1 meter square. So a meter square is 1,000 litres. So this is 16,000 litres. Okay? We could use that. That's fine. It's going to go at 10 miles an hour. We've got the HP for it, and it's going to pick up the grass. Great. Also, we've got this one. Now, this is 16... this is going to be 16,000 litres. This is going to be 23,000 litres. It's a little bit more money. Goes at the same speed. But we can pick up more. So you want to consider what you want. What's right for you. This one we're going to struggle with, but it's 26. Is it really worth the extra money? Is it really worth paying an extra £24,000 for an extra 3,000 litres? It's not really worth it. It's not really worth it at all. So we don't need to do that. Same with this. So we could get away with a basic one. It just means we've got to empty it more often. Or if we have a big field, we can get away with this one. That's an option. However, a different option is a baler. These are the balers. So this baler, this will make a bale at 120 centimetres square. This one will make a 125 centimetre circle. A round bale. So we can have a square bale or a round bale. And as it says, a baler turns loose straw, grass or hay into convenient bales. So we could do that. That's an option. It goes at 7 miles an hour. It also requires 50 HP. So that's fine. We could do that. We could actually use this one, and we could use this one behind our mower and do it in one go. Or this one, 100 HP. This one takes more. So we probably wouldn't be able to use this with the mower. The next one, this one, is between 125 to 180. Makes a big difference, right? But this is what I want to show you. This one not only makes the bales, but this icon means it wraps the bales. You see, otherwise if I use this one, I would have to bale it, and then I would have to get a bale wrapper and wrap it. So I'd have to bale it, and then I'd have to wrap it with another machine, which means I need to go twice. But if I was to use something like this, I can bale it and wrap it at the same time. It goes 10 miles an hour, and I can pretty much use it with my horsepower. Now the reason I like the next one, it's a little bit heavier, but I can do bigger bales. A 125 centimetre bale is around 4,000 litres. 150 centimetre bale is around 5,500 litres. So we get an extra 1,500 litres. That means bigger bales, less bales. It's easier for us because once we have the bales, we then need a bale loader to be able to carry the bales. This one takes 24 bales, and it takes them between 125 and 180 round bales. So we could lease this. It's going to cost us 2,500 to lease this. We can also lease a baler. If we look at this one that we saw, and we look at leasing it, 4,300. So let's just say 4.5. So 7,000 in total for the two machines. So we could lease these for 7,000, right? And we know that one bale is going to give us about 5,000 litres roughly of grass or of silage. So if we come back to this screen and look at the market, how much are we going to get paid for silage? 341. Okay, let's just say 300. Let's just keep it as a nice number. So if we were going to get paid 300 per 1,000 litres, and we know that a 5,500 litre bale, that means we're going to get paid approximately £1,500 per bale. And we know we need to spend 7,000 to rent the equipment. That means that we need to be able to make 5 bales. Anything over that is pure profit. That is how we can work out whether this is a good deal. So, let's figure this out right now. Are we going to be able to make 5 bales? Well, I can tell you right now that the length of a square, i.e. what we've done here, left to right, will make you approximately, roughly, 1 bale for every 2 rows. Roughly. So, already you can see there are 3 rows here. We're working on our 4th now. That means, at this point, we're pretty much almost broken even right here. And we've still got so much more to do. In fact, I would almost say maybe 1 row to 1.5 rows. So we've already got our 5 bales here. That means anything we do at this point on is pure profit. It's a good investment. The only thing we're going to struggle with is this tractor. It's a little bit slow. And in the future, we could have a baler at the same time as the lawnmower. We could be baling it as we're mowing it. Lots of things we can do, as I said. Or we could actually go and hire, as I mentioned, a wind rake. A windrower here, a windrower. This is a device where I just show you it here. It's a pretty crazy looking device. Let me show you this one. So it kind of unfolds and then it takes all the grass from all those different lines and it scoops them up into a single line. A great bit of kit. Really, really nice. And obviously, if you can, good to use. Because we could put that here on this field and it's going to mean that we would only need to bale 1 line. Literally just 1 line. It would make life easier because with the baler we would have to do 5 runs. But with the wind rake we can turn 5 rows into 1. Now the problem with that is we would have to go to the shop, pick it up, bring it back. Then go to the shop, pick up the baler, bring it back. This is a slow tractor. Therefore, it's probably not effective right now for us to spend money where we don't need to. What we can do is we can just keep mowing this grass. And then later on, we can pick up the baler. And also, we don't need to get the baler today. We could get it tomorrow if we wanted to. If we didn't want to worry about it going over into the next month, that's fine. At least we've cut the grass. Just by cutting the grass, it's going to start growing again. And this is kind of the focus for today. Now things like that tree, we could cut that down later. I'm not too worried about it at the moment. Also, I'm going to show you how we can get rid of the bushes, how you can get rid of tree stumps. That is another machine that we need to buy. Another attachment called a mulcher. So we can do things like that to clean up. You can actually get rid of bushes with landscaping tools. But I will do that later, but for now I kind of want to give you the gameplay first. I want to show you how to do it with a machine or a tool. You cannot remove trees or tree stumps with landscaping tools. That doesn't work. Only bushes. It's really a touch up and a correction tool, and it costs money to use. So yeah, we're trying not to spend money at the moment. We're still on £76,000, which is great. We're trying to keep as much as we can. One, in case there's a special deal in the shop. Maybe we see a tractor on a special offer or a piece of equipment that we need and it's on special offer. We want to be able to buy it. And also we want to be able to generate profits quickly. So today this is our focus. We're just going to do this. And then tomorrow we're going to focus on something else. Eventually we'll string together multiple different production chains and it's going to make our life just that much easier. So as you can see, we're coming to the end of the straight lines. Now we're going to have to start dealing with these rocks, those trees. So we're not going to worry too much. I'm not going to try and perfect this. As I said, it's as much about being efficient with our time. And we could pick up every part, but we really don't need to. Also, we can buy more land. Every additional land costs us $85,000 or £85,000. But if we buy that land, then we have access to all the resources on it. So if we know we can buy some land for £85,000, we know that we can mow all of the grass on that land and we can get the silage from it and it's going to make us profit, then it could be beneficial for us to buy additional land and to mow it and to start expanding. But again, it's going to take time and we need to make sure that whatever we're doing is effective. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with where we are at the moment. We could obviously continue. It's more than possible for us to do that. I'm not too worried right now. I'm looking at the time. It's getting quite late and I actually want to go and get that baler. Because for me, I really want to make sure that I can do this tonight and have it done so it's finished. And then I don't have to worry about it anymore. So I'm just going to cut some grass on the way back. I don't know why I'm doing on the big hill. It's a bit crazy, but, you know, it is what it is. Again, there's all this land here, all this land over there. I'm not going to worry too much about it. I'm just going to head back here. Going to go around the tree, and then we're going to head back up to the shop. Excellent. Okay, so now this is done. I don't need to take this with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to put it away. So I press V to pick it up, X to close it, and I'm going to come in here. Oh, and for now I'm just going to put it right here. Let it go, and now we're going to head to the shop. So we want to do this before it gets too late, and again, if you don't do it in the first day, that's absolutely fine. There's no pressure, no rush. But it does take us quite a long time to get to the shop. We could also use the AI if we want. We can press H and we can set a destination if we want to. So by setting a destination, we can actually send the tractor there on its own. So now it's going to automatically drive there for us. Now we can press P and we can look at what we need to buy. So we did mention that we want to use, I'm going to recommend a baler. So we can look at the balers that are available. I would recommend that we get one of the smaller ones for now. It's less money. If we look at this one, to lease it, is 4,000, whereas this one, which is a bit bigger, we could get this one. It's 4,300. An extra 300 is fine. We can do that. It's a bit of a slow machine, but we can do it. So we're going to rent this. So do you want to lease it? Yes, we do. Okay. So now we've got that. Now we've done what we need to do, we can let go of the worker. We don't need the worker anymore because you have to pay wages again for the workers, and we don't have that much money at the moment. So we've already spent about £30,000, and given how limited our starting budget is, we don't want to spend much more right now. But we do want to start thinking about production chains. So wood is one that we mentioned. We could take the wood and sell it, but this is a long way to come to sell wood. If we built a sawmill near us, we could take the wood to the sawmill instead. That way it reduces our need to keep coming to this shop, which is going to save on time, and also we're going to get more money from that wood in the form of planks. So I think a sawmill is something very valuable for us to set up quite quickly to generate good income. We've got a lot of trees to cut down. It makes sense to do it. Something else as it's coming up to the winter that we can consider is a greenhouse. Greenhouses are a great way to be able to generate crops, and those crops they can generate all year round. So a greenhouse is a nice way to deal with things whilst we're in those winter months where nothing else is available. So we're going to pick up the wrapper. There we go. And we're going to drive back. Now eventually we're going to want to buy this machine. We don't want to keep leasing it, but for now, to keep those costs down because of how expensive it was, we're just simply going to take it back, use it, and then we're going to return it. One thing we can do, if you wanted to, as we're driving along here, is we can press the escape key. Still going to drive. We can look in the finances tab and we can see how much money we spent. So we can see right now we spent 27,900 today. We're down to 72 this month. Tells us what we spent on new vehicles, vehicle leasing, etc, etc. So we can kind of see what we're spending. And right now, I think we're in a good place. We're doing very well. We've had a productive day so far. We've got the field sorted, cut down a few trees, we've mowed some grass. I think that's progress. Now we don't need to hire the bow loader today because we have to leave the bales in the field for 2 months to ferment. They take a bit of time. We can keep an eye on them, but there's no point paying for the loader when we don't need it. In fact, I would recommend don't lease anything until you're ready to use it. And also I don't recommend leasing anything at the end of the day, because if you've got the 1 day into a new month, then you're going to pay that additional fee, and you don't want to do that. So right now we're going to unwrap this, we're going to lower this, and we're going to turn this on. In the bottom right hand corner you can see a little percent mark. It's at 0%. We can obviously grab hay, straw, grass, whatever. As soon as you start grabbing something, it will tell you with the icon there in the bottom corner. You can see we've got 100 litres of grass. And that's it. We are now just going to drive forward. It's going to struggle, it's going to go slow. Maximum speed of 10 mile an hour. But this is all we're going to do. We're going to do this. Once we've done this, we're going to turn around. We're going to go back again. And we're just going to pick it up until it gets to 100%. Now before it gets there, when it gets to about 80%, it's going to start beeping at us. And that beeping is going to be a warning to tell us that it's nearly full. So you just need to keep an ear out. When you hear the beeping, just get ready to stop. Let's get in a bit closer. There's the beeping, can you hear it? So that beeping is telling us it's nearly full. Now when this gets to 100%, it's going to stop picking up. Look at the roller, it's picking up the grass, and now look, it's stopped picking up the grass. Can you see? There's a trail of grass that it hasn't picked up. That is because there is a moment. There is a moment when it finishes the grass that you need to stop. And you need to wait for it to spit that grass out the back before continuing. As soon as it starts to wrap the bale, you can continue. Or when you see the marker at the bottom and it says 0%. We'll see that on the next one. And that's the only thing with the baler, is that you have to take that few seconds when it gets full to just wait for it to spit out that bale before continuing. That way it saves you with a back and forth. So we're going to do it this time. We're going to keep baling. We're at 30% right now. And this is why we're not going to mess about with all of these little bits of turns and all of this. As you can see, it's quite slow already doing this. So we're just going to continue on this path. Beautiful looking map. Lovely field. I love this kind of abandoned rustic look. Humble beginnings. It'll be fascinating in a couple of months to see where this looks and what we've turned it into. So now we know we're almost at 100%. We're going to keep going. We're going to wait for it to get to 100, and then we're going to stop. We're just going to back up a tiny bit there. We're going to wait for that to go to 0. Looking at the bottom of the screen. Oh, sorry, it's not going to do that because I need to turn on automatic drops. So press Z and it will spit off the bow at the back. There we go. Now it's spat the bow out. The next one can come out. And then the container is going to go to 0. There we go. And now it's at 0. We can carry on. While it's still wrapping, we can carry on. Alright, let's head out to our field, and now it's automatically just going to spit them out as soon as they're full. And that's it. That's all there is to it. As you can see, we've just spat out 2 bales. They're there. When we get the trailer in a couple of days, we'll come round and we'll pick all of these bales up. Remember, each of those bales is worth about £1,500 to us. We worked it out, and you know how to do that. That means there's about £3,000 right there. We just need to do 2 more of those, and we've pretty much broken even. Anything on top of that, it's going to be pure profit. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how we get up this hill, knowing that we're struggling with this baler. Already? Well, that sounds like a werewolf. Maybe that explains why this map was abandoned and there's no one here. Now look, you can see I am really struggling to turn around, and to get up this hill right now, I can't do any more than 2 miles an hour. Now this is a good example of just how difficult this space can be. Now we've got to 100%. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to head to the top here. We've turned the baler off, which means we can go a little bit faster just to get us to the top of this hill. Otherwise it's going to take us all day to get up here. Right, now we're at the top, we're going to put it back down and we're going to continue. Now the only downside to round bales is if you leave it, and then we're lucky we left it at the top, but if we left it on a hill, yes, it would roll down the hill. It's been known to lose a couple of bales before, some in the water, some in the bushes. Just be careful and keep an eye on them. Right, I'm going to turn left here simply because the tractor again is going to really struggle to get up that incline, and I don't want to waste that time at the moment. Alright. Almost at 100%. There we go, it's at 100. We're going to stop and wait. As soon as that goes back down to 0, which it has now, we can go. And that's it. That's as simple as that. That's all we're going to do to bale these up. Now eventually we're going to come out and cut these little trees down. Also, if you look ahead of us on the right, you can see those trees we had to go around. We can cut those to make a perfect square. And also, because this is a field right now, or just open space, it's not a field, sorry, we can't hire the AI to do this job. The AI doesn't understand open space. I mean, if you've seen them drive to the shop, you'll understand. They struggle. We need to define a field for the AI to be able to work within the confines of that field. Therefore, we need to plough an area. I am not coming out here with that small plough, ploughing all of this land. I will be here for weeks. So, we need a bigger plough. And that's something we can work towards. It's not a priority right now, but it's definitely something we could work towards. Also, if we were to buy that field next to us, look at all that open space. There's so much space there, we could mow all that grass. So we have to consider, if we're going to spend a lot of time mowing grass, then it would be beneficial to us to buy the equipment that we're going to continually use. The less we have to lease, the more profits we're going to make. I appreciate there's going to be an upfront cost, but that cost will be made back quite quickly. And that's about it so far. For this episode, we're just going to continue to mow all the grass. We're going to relax, enjoy this. But that's all we're going to do today. It's starting to get a little bit dark now. You can see the screen changing. I'm going to press B, turn it off. It's going to allow me to turn around a bit quicker. Line myself up, and I'm going to press B again to start. And there we go, it's going to start collecting again. So yep, what we're going to do, at the end of every episode, we'll go back to the house, we'll go to sleep, we'll end the episode, and then we'll start the next episode when we wake up the next day. For day 1, I consider this a success. we've made some money, not much, but we've prepared ourselves. We've got the grass prepared, so we're going to make money in a couple of months. We've got the crops prepared, so we'll make some money next year. And we've sold some trees, but we've also got the ability to sell more. One of the first things we're going to buy is a new tractor. Definitely need a new tractor. This is just painfully slow right now. And super loud as well. I mean, far too loud. Yeah, I mean, I love this tractor. It's going to do us well in the early stages. I'm very grateful for it. But the other thing as well, we're going to need to get fuel. As you can see, we're running out of fuel right now. And after a while, this tractor's going to run out of fuel, and if that happens, we're going to be in trouble. In fact, we really should have filled this up when we went up the top, and we didn't. If this runs out of fuel, and it's flashing right now, we're actually going to have to take the car to go and buy some fuel to be able to then come back. So, yeah, we're actually, at the moment, we're in quite a bad place. We're going to have to do something about that. Now I'm going to get to the end of this path here, in fact, in just a second. I'm not going to risk that and let it get to 0. We need to repair the truck, it's knackered, and we need to put fuel in it. Things you have to keep an eye on. I don't think I have enough to get me where I need to go. And the fact it's flashing is making me a little bit nervous. And it is getting quite late. I think I might have to go. Yep, I'm going to dump this baler. I'm going to leave the baler there. I'm going to get fuel. I'm a bit too scared. I'm a bit too nervous. I've left it a bit too late. I don't want to break down. If I break down, it's going to ruin our night. It won't be a good end to a first day. I would rather take a 5-minute inconvenience right now to get myself back up there and get some fuel than to break down. There are 2 types of people in this world. Those on full, and there are those on empty. Which are you? I think you can guess right now which one I am. It's also possible in this game to get electric vehicles. At that point, you can get an electric charging station. For now, we're going to really try and get up here and hope we don't break down. Oh, it will be bad. We are really close. Now, this doesn't wait until it's empty. It's not a case of, oh, we've got a warning, we need to keep going, and then it's empty and we run out. The tractor will stop before that fuel bar gets to 0. You just need to bear that in mind. If it's flashing, it's already too late. We can't push it, it's too heavy. We're going to have to just hope and pray we can get there. I think we can do this and get back, and we can still get... It's going to be a bit of a late one tonight. It is going to be a little bit of a late one, but we do want to get that grass finished. We do want to get that baler back because it's leased. Also, we need to take the truck back at some point. We left that up here. We could use the AI to drive the truck back, but I found that the AI is a little bit limited in its ability. Drives all over the place. It really struggles, but we've made it almost. I'm not gonna say that just yet because we're not right there, but yep, we're good. I think we've made it. If we break down now, we can just roll on to the spot. So we made it. Now we press R and we're gonna refill. There we go. We're filling up. That was close. Alright, we're full. That was £196 to fill up the tractor. All good. whilst I'm here, I'm actually going to just pop inside. Now, I could have done this at my workshop back on my farm. But I'm going to pop inside. And as long as I'm in this area here, I can repair my vehicle. And there's actually two things I'm going to do here. I'm going to repair the vehicle. But whilst I'm here, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to try and think forward a little bit. So I'm going to repair 7,200. That is an expensive repair. But we need to do it. Okay, it's repaired. That was expensive. We're also going to customize the vehicle. Now, the reason we're going to customize this, and we don't want to spend too much, is because we want to get the front loader attacher. Now, this is £1,500. There's different brands, but they're all the same price. It's not a front loader, it's just a front loader attacher. This means, and I'll explain this in a minute, we can buy some things that we can load on the front of our tractor. So, for example, if I click customize, do I want to purchase this? Well, yes, I do. It's something that we're going to need in the future. Now, remember I told you there are some logs that are too big to pick up? Well, you don't want to be constantly chopping down logs and making them smaller. You want to be able to pick up bigger logs. And so we're going to go to the shop right now whilst we're here. And we're going to scroll down. And you can see, if I go to tools, there are front loaders. So if I click on this, I can now buy a front loader. And they're different prices. The different prices are a little bit taller. They offer more reach, more range. But they're pretty much the same. And for the purpose of this tractor, because it's not a very good tractor, we're just going to buy the cheapest one. The cheapest one is going to be absolutely fine for us. In fact, if you want, you can go for a little bit better, but look at the HP that's required for it. This one requires 60 HP, 65, 80 or 100. We want what takes the least amount of pressure for us at the moment. So this one's fine. So we can go ahead and we can design this. If we want, we can change the colours of it. I'm going to go for a red and a white because that's kind of in keeping with the brand of the tractor that we have. So we can change it, make it how we want it, and we can go ahead and buy it. It's going to cost us £7,000, but it's a good purchase. Now that we have the front loader, we're going to be able to buy front loader tools. Now be careful. Front loader is different to wheel loader, which is different to telehandler, which is different to skid steer. I could go into the front loader and I could see a universal bucket. I can see this universal bucket is 1,000 litres. Okay, what if I went into the telehandler? There's a universal bucket here and it's 2,600 litres. Great, I might buy this one, it's bigger. This will not fit on your tractor. This will only fit on a telehandler and not on a front loader. The tractor has a front loader. If I look at vehicles, we can see there are front loader vehicles. They look like this. There are telehandlers. They look like this. There are wheel loaders that look like this. And there are skid steer loaders that look like this. We have basically turned our tractor into a front loader. Therefore, we can only buy, when we're looking at equipment, front loader equipment. So, we're going to go ahead right now. Click on the front loaders, click on the equipment, click on front loader tools, and we're actually going to buy ourselves the log fork. The log fork. And this is going to allow us to pick up logs. It's going to cost us £3,000. We're going to buy it because we're going to use it a lot. And there it is. So what we've done right now, just to recap, now we're going to get into our tractor. Okay, turn the engine on. We're going to back out. Let's turn our lights on as well so we can see. So we've bought the attachment. So the attachment is on our tractor. And the attachment will allow us to pick up the front loader. So the attachment was 1,500. The front loader, which we're actually putting on now, we need to just drive between it, was 7,100. You actually need to drive between it to be able to pick it up. There we go. That is now on. And now we have the front loader on, we can now pick up the tools. So we drive forward, and there we go. And now we have this. We can use our mouse, and we can move it. We can move it in many different ways, up and down, left and right. We can open up this. So if I hold down my left, if I press controls and hold down my left mouse wheel, it shows you what we can do. Moving the mouse left and right changes that. Moving the mouse up and down changes that. If I press the right mouse button, I can go left or right, and it opens this. Now, I struggle with the mouse. I don't like it. I actually have a joystick. With the joystick, I can do all of these controls by using my joystick. I have a Thrustmaster T1600M. It's a really cost-effective, decent joystick. If you're serious about playing this game, I highly recommend investing in that joystick. It will make so much difference to your gameplay when you're doing forestry, when you're doing forklifting, when you're doing many other things. The joystick is a joy to use in this game. It's so much better than a mouse and keyboard. You could argue having a steering wheel is also nice with the pedals. I do have the steering wheel, I have a Logitech G920. I do use the pedals. In fact, I'm using the pedals right now, but I don't bother with the steering wheel. It's fun, it's nice, it's okay. The Logitech G920 is not the most responsive, so it's not the best one to use. It's fine if you're doing some fields and stuff, but I just didn't feel the need to constantly have my steering wheel out, and it got in the way of my keyboard and things like that. So I just use my keyboard and mouse. I use my A and D key to steer, I use my pedals to accelerate and brake, and I use my joystick for any controls that I need to do on the machinery. You might also use a gamepad. If you do, that's absolutely fine. You can use that instead. But I just find that using the tools like the front loader, grabbers, anything like that, forklifts, it's a lot harder to use a keyboard and mouse. Right, so it's 8 o'clock, it's getting quite late, we want to get back. We're going to lift this up. We're not going to use it now, but we bought it for later. The main thing was we wanted to make sure we had enough gas. Another reason why you should always have some money, just in case of emergency. You never know when you're going to need some. Luckily for us, we managed to get there, we got filled up, and now we just need to get back, find out where we left that baler, which is somewhere out in the back field there. Try not to hit a tree on our way through, which is I'm going to have to go inside so I can see what I'm doing. There we go, I can just see the baler in the distance. 4 hours till midnight. I'm apologising now because it's already a 2-hour video, and I did say these videos will be 2 hours long, and we're doing the night shift. We're already in overtime on our first day, but there was a lot to do. We had to get set up. We had to avoid a crisis. I don't mind doing these things, so let's continue. Alright, there's another bale, so we can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bales so far. I think there's another one over there which would make 6 bales. In fact, I know there's 2 over there, that's 7 bales. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's now 8 bales that we've got. 8 bales. If we do just 2 more bales, that's going to be 15,000 pounds. Already we're making good progress, and we're making some profits. And we have a lot of money to spend. We're going to need millions for the tractors, for the equipment that we need, for all of the parts we need. It's going to cost us millions. The land that we need. It's hard, and so I want you to understand that making money in this game is something you really need to understand quite early on, and try not to spend it all. It's very easy when you see yourself with 100 grand at the start to just go, oh, I'm just going to go and buy a few random things, and before you know it, if you don't have a chainsaw and you don't have a lawnmower, all of a sudden you don't have a way to earn money. And you can always earn money in this game. I mean, you could earn money just chopping down trees, but if you're just chopping down small trees and carrying them by hand, it's going to take you ages to make any money. We need to get a supply chain up and going as soon as possible, and that's what we're going to be working on tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to get the sawmill up and running, and that's expensive because we're going to have to buy that. We're going to get the sawmill up and running. We're also going to get our first greenhouse up and running. That's going to be our focus for tomorrow. And that way we're going to generate ourselves additional income. We can put the logs into the sawmill, and that means we don't have to drive up to that shop. That in itself is going to save us an incredible amount of time. On top of that, it's going to give us better yield because the trees sell for a small amount of money compared to the planks, which sell for a lot more. We'll talk all about production lines tomorrow. That's going to be our focus on tomorrow's video. We're also going to get a greenhouse up, and we'll talk about greenhouses and the different effects that they have. So that will get us through the winter months. Then we have the ability to do trees. We probably won't be able to do much grass over Christmas, so we need another income source. So greenhouses and trees is pretty much going to be our income over the holidays. As we get into March and the grass starts to grow, we'll be able to get our income again from silage. And then towards the middle of next year, we'll be able to harvest our first load. We won't make a lot of money off that field, but we'll definitely be able to prep another field in time so that for next year, we're ready to plant. Hopefully in the meantime, we'll be able to buy some equipment, get some upgraded machinery, and possibly even look at getting into some animals. Just remembering when you hear that beep, keeping an eye on the bottom corner, waiting for that to get to 100%. Now the funny thing here, what I actually did wrong is I bought the upgraded baler so that I could do the bigger bales, but if you look, I'm actually doing the bales at 125 centimeters. I forgot to press the button. If I press L, I can change the bale size to 150, and I actually forgot to do that, which means I'm using the smaller bales. Something about the bale loader, the trailer, you can't mix and match bales. That means if you use a smaller bale, you can't then use a bigger bale on the same load. Therefore, before I told you that each bale was worth about 1,500. That is incorrect because each bale right now, as you can see, is only worth 3,500 litres, not 5.5. Therefore, knowing that silage sells for around 300, we only have about 1,000, not 1,500. We only have about 1,000 per bale. Therefore, the first 7 bales, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, those are costs. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have only got right now about £6,000 in profit, not 10. Just something to bear in mind. It's still profit, and it still counts. And there's a lot more grass that we could have mowed. Okay, doing good so far. So something else to think about in the future, we're going to want to do some more forestry and chop down some more trees. We don't really want to be using a chainsaw because that takes a long time. So eventually we're going to hire some proper forestry equipment. That's going to allow us to chop down some really big trees. And then we're going to get a proper vehicle to be able to pick them up, a proper trailer to be able to carry them. We're able to make incredibly larger profits off the back of selling those trees. We'll also be able to fill up the sawmill. We'll be able to get the carpentry going. There's a lot of things that we're going to be able to look at building and increasing as we go. And it's just one day at a time. Just one increase, one improvement at a time. But always making sure that we have that ability to generate income. That's the big bottleneck at the early stage, is having that way to generate money. Thankfully on this map there is a way to do that, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow. In fact, tomorrow I'm going to show you one of the easiest and one of the most profitable production chains on this map in the early game. Something to remember as well, every map is different. I've mentioned that already. But some things that are available in this map are not going to be available in other maps. Vice versa. Some things you'll need mods for. You just need to decide where you're playing and what you want to do. And again, there's no right or wrong answer. There's no best. There's no this is good and this is bad. It's just whatever's right for you. Now, what works for one person may not work for someone else. All I would recommend, and my best advice I can give you, and I hope you listen to this carefully because it's important, only download mods from the official mod store. I would not recommend downloading any mods from third parties or from websites that are not the downloadable content section of the Giant game. The reason for that is these mods are custom coded scripts that have been written to run on your computer, and you don't know what code is in those scripts. Now, if the software has been uploaded to the Giant's website, you can assume, and I hope, that they have vetted that information and it's going to be relatively safe. Overall, the mods that are recommended by the community seem to be quite safe. They seem to have been checked. But always do your research and always do your due diligence. I would hate to think that you were hacked or you had a problem with your computer because you downloaded a mod for a game. Now, that shouldn't scare you away from mods. Mods are incredibly powerful tools, and they can be used to great effect to really improve your gameplay. But just be aware and be vigilant that you don't always know the people that write these mods. You don't know how they've been coded, and if you're downloading one from a website that you don't know, that's not official, you just have to question how reliable is that mod really going to be, and is it worth downloading. There's tens of thousands of mods for this game. There are so many mods. Just ask yourself the question, do I really need this? Do I really want this? Alright, I think we're going to get one more bow out of this. We'll do this last little run here, then we'll head back. There was a little bit of grass at the start that we left. I think if we go and pick that up, we should be able to get one more bow out of this, and then that is going to be us done. We'll then be able to take the baler back, because we don't also want to keep it because we've leased it. Alright, so we're going to turn off the machine, and that is going to allow us to go. You can already hear the tractor now, sounds a lot better. We turn the machine off, it's going to allow us to go faster. We're going to try and get a run up on that hill. And I think that's pretty much, I don't know exactly, I wasn't counting, but it's almost 24 bales. It might actually be 24 bales. And that is a full load. That is as many bales as we can fit on the loader, or the trailer. We're going to just do this last little bit here. Get to the top of this hill, hopefully, sometime before midnight. Here we go. And there we go. We actually made it. You know what? It's possible. We could. I'm not saying we will, but we could possibly get one more out of this. I don't know. Let's have a look. We're going to see. I might be a little bit overconfident here. We're going to see if we get back to the start. We might just get one more out of this. Because they're only the small bales, it's very possible. I don't know how much grass we left here. There's a little. Oh yeah, there's loads. We're gonna get another one out of this quite easily. We're gonna hoover up all of this grass here. We don't need to do it all. We don't need to come back. There we go. So that's it. That is more than enough for us. So we're going to let this bow drop out the back. as soon as that is done, we're going to send that baler back. There we go. Bale done. Press P. Go to lease. Go to balers. Go to return. Done. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it. We have successfully completed our first day on our new farm. Quite a lot of work to do. We've made some good progress so far. We're just going to take the tractor in here. I will turn off the engine. And we'll just jump out. There we go. Okay. What a night. Let's head indoors, shall we? Well-deserved rest after our first day. And that concludes day 1. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for day 2. Look after yourself. I'll speak to you soon.